Welcome back to Hardball. Today, the Democratic Party refused to cross the picket line. With the country's labor unions demanding defeat of an historic trade bill, Big City and other Democrats had to choose between President Obama, who is leaving town a year and a half from now, and AFL-CIO leader Richard Trumka. They picked Trumka. Nancy Pelosi of San Francisco, a celebrated port city, was the last to fall. She said her party members had the impression the trade bill would hurt their people back home. She said that the country needed to do something to create jobs first, something like getting highway construction underway. If some Democrats were happy today, however, she was not one of them. The most impressive member of Congress seemed pained by the whole experience. Here is the look and sound of the debate earlier today on that floor of the U.S. House of Representatives as the vote approached.
Is America going to shape the global economy, or is it going to shape us? I understand a lot of our members, especially on our side of the aisle, they don't trust this administration. Join the club. Neither do I. That is precisely why I support this bill. TPA puts Congress in the driver's seat.
We in Congress, despite all the rhetoric, we in Congress will be in the back seat, not in the falsely claimed driver's seat.
If we want to protect working families, we must stop fast-tracking.
Free trade is critical for my constituents in central and eastern Kentucky. More than 500,000 Kentucky jobs are related to international trade, and expanding trade agreements will provide even more opportunities for job growth.
The proponents of this bill have not played it straight. If they had played it straight, we could play it straight.
Right now, China's writing the rules, while America sits on the sidelines.
The vote today is why I came to Congress. I promised the working men and women in my district that I would fight to make sure that they had a seat at the table when we were making decisions that impact their life and their livelihood. NAFTA cost us 1 million jobs, and Michigan is still paying the price.
Have you ever had one of those moments when you're compelled to come running down here and come up to the mic just because you're so enraged with the duplicity of some of the things you're hearing? Some of the crazy things I'm seeing put out in the media by big labor, the willingness to make up stories, to make up facts. Goebbels would be very proud of them.
Trade adjustment is the equivalent of an execution, but you're getting to choose your last meal. But the end result is you're dead, or in this case, you're losing your job.
I know some members of this body don't like trade promotion authorities. Some don't like trade adjustment assistance. But today, I'm here to vote for both because it is the right thing to do.
Pope Paul VI said, if you want peace, work for justice, economic justice, and I don't see that happening in this fast-track bill.
Well, in the end, the House defeated the president on the first vote, trade adjustment assistance, thus preventing the actual trade bill from moving forward. Joining me right now is NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Kelly O'Donnell. Well, give us the capsule. It was a bad day for the president, I think. How do you see it?
An extraordinarily bad day politically for the president today, but it may not be the end of the story because the way they've structured this, they can try again next week, and that's what the White House tonight is asking for, and certainly House Republicans want to see that happen too. Today was big Labor's Day for sure, and for Democrats, especially from the industrial parts of the country. I come from Ohio. I understand the rhythms of that, and they got their piece today to say that they will not go along even when the president comes here personally and makes a very impassioned plea. One of the most stunning things today, Chris, is that Democrats who over the years of the Obama presidency have told us often off camera that they've been frustrated by the relationship with the White House, today let that really break open. And you had a handful of Democrats who said on camera and publicly that they felt really mishandled by the White House, even insulted by the White House, that simply coming up here right before the vote, that would somehow change their minds when they have heartfelt, deeply rooted concerns with this. They also have concerns about how some of this might be used against them in re-election. So this is a complex set of issues politically and in the underlying substance of global agreements where the president said when he was on his European trip, this will get done. Well, today, the brakes were put on by one of his chief supporters, Nancy Pelosi, who spoke at length and with a lot of emotion and said sadly she could not support this. And by voting against that first piece, it's like train cars on the tracks. They linked them together. So voting down the first piece effectively killed the whole package for now, until they can come back and try again. Republicans had led the train car with a package for federal programs to retrain displaced workers, hoping that would bring Democrats along. And even though they believe in that in substance and basically as a part of their DNA, today they said they're going to vote against it to stop the whole thing. And that's where we are. Can the president try to change minds between now and next week? You alluded to it. Nancy Pelosi said maybe if the highway bill got this sort of fast-track attention, maybe that could bridge the gap. So she floated a way forward if that can be done. Lots of machinations involved there, but at least that's one sign of how they might achieve it. We just don't know tonight. It's going to be a rough weekend for the president. He said he would get it, and he did not. Chris?
Kelly O'Donnell, as always, great from you on the Capitol. Thanks for joining us with the hottest. For more now on what the vote means for President Obama and his legacy, we're joined by White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest. Josh, thanks for coming on tonight. It's a tough night, but you know, I always think there's a deal to be made. Is there a deal to be made here on highways, infrastructure, jobs, something that whets the appetite of the Democrats to go for something the president wants, a trade bill?
Well, listen, Chris, I actually think that this is a pretty good day for the president. And the reason for that is we got a piece of business done that a lot of people were pretty skeptical about. There was a sense all across this town that Democrats and Republicans could never successfully work with the president to pass trade promotion authority legislation. And yet that's exactly what happened in the House of Representatives today. There's also a lot of skepticism about how many Democrats we could convince to support trade promotion authority. The sense was, well, you know, the White House is going to be lucky to get 15 or 17 or 18 Democrats to vote for it. We got 28 Democrats to vote for it. So from that standpoint, Chris, we overperformed. Now, it's also true that we haven't gotten everything that we wanted yet. And what we're going to spend some time doing now is making the case to Democrats that this is their last best opportunity to prevent trade assistance from expiring. The fact is, this legislation that has previously been supported by every Democrat in the House is legislation that will expire on September 30th if it doesn't pass the Congress. And so we're going to make the case to Democrats, not only should we prevent this important program from lapsing, we actually can expand it. We can double it in size, and we can make sure that over the next 6 years, about 100,000 American workers a year benefit from this trade adjustment assistance.
But you got the car today, but you didn't get the wheels. So without the wheels, that car's not much good. What are you going to offer the recalcitrant Democrats to get them to support your position on Monday or Tuesday next week? You got to change a lot of minds. It was only 126 Democrats, I believe, that voted for TAA. You've got to get that up to about 215 or 16 at least to get a majority.
Yeah, but what I would say, Chris, is that the fact is the car was the hard part, and now we just got to get the the accessories. And,
you are so positive. Yeah. I mean, here's my concern. I don't understand, and this isn't your job to figure this out, but it is to explain perhaps why we can't do this. Why don't they deal make on the Hill? Why the president doesn't want Keystone, but he does want infrastructure. He does want minimum wage. The other people want something else. Why can't they go up on the Hill and spend a weekend, get over a card table and say, okay, look, we're going to give it the damn highway bill. Used to be a big Republican thing. Why are you guys sitting on this thing? Let's get that moving. We'll get you the highway bill. Then the Democrats will feel like they're creating jobs. They won't feel like they're killing the old industrial states. By the way, if you're building highways and bridges, you're creating a tremendous market for steel and all kinds of material and stuff that could be produced in those Rust Belt states. I just don't see why we can't all get to the table on jobs.
Well, Chris, what I would say is actually when it comes to this particular piece of legislation, we did successfully craft a bipartisan proposal that got support of both Democrats and Republicans in the Senate, right? And it included a variety of things. It included trade promotion authority. Yeah. That included a variety of provisions. It included trade adjustment assistance, doubling the size of that program almost. It also included a bunch of enforcement priorities as well. And that's the package that got strong bipartisan support in the Senate. And we got a lot of pieces of that package through in the House, except for one. So we got to go back to that one piece of the package and actually make sure that we get it through. The good news is we're not trying to convince Democrats to support something that Republicans had asked for. We're actually trying to get Democrats to support something that Democrats asked for. So that's why I say that we already did the hard part. Now we just got to do this last part.
But Nancy Pelosi today made it very clear that the reason she voted against trade adjustment assistance is to kill the trade authority, the fast track. She said it over and over. That's why she was doing it. And now you're saying the Democrats would be stupid enough to think, oh, we're just voting for trade adjustment assistance. No, they're giving the okay to the deal, to the fast track. They know what's going on here. I want to respond to something.
But Chris, I guess my point, Chris, though, is that this is a procedural difference of opinion. It's a procedural snafu, as I've described it in the briefing before. We don't actually have to change minds. We know that Democrats in the House of Representatives strongly support trade adjustment assistance. We just got to get them to vote for it.
You know, if I thought the Kool-Aid would help, I'd drink it. But I'm not sure it's going to help at this point from my end. From your end, it's helpful. Let's take a look at DeFazio today. There's some tough talk on the Hill. And I do think both sides are right here because I think they hurt each other. Here's a comment. In a last-minute push hours before the vote today, President Obama went up to Capitol Hill, we know, to make the case to ask Democrats to support the bill. The president spent 45 minutes with members of his own party, the Democrats, taking no questions. And according to a source in the room, reported by Politico, he told Democrats to, quote, vote your values. Well, some Democrats were not happy with the president's visit to the other end of the Pennsylvania Avenue. Here they are.
The president tried to both guilt people and then impugn their integrity, and I don't think it was a very effective tactic. There were a number of us who were insulted by the approach.
Do you think, or does the president think that some of the members were scared of labor? They didn't vote their values, they voted their fears. Do you think that's what happened today?
Well, Chris, I'm not going to ascribe motives to any member of Congress. They have a responsibility to vote their conscience.
No, he ascribed the motive to the president. He said the president's been accusing them of being in the tank with labor because they're afraid of labor.
Yeah, well, look, maybe members of Congress have the luxury of indulging in questioning the president's motives. I'm not going to question the motives of any member of Congress. I'm simply going to say that if you consider the values that Democrats stand for and the values that this president has fought for over the last 6.5 years, we acknowledge that the challenging forces of globalization are not something that we can insulate America from.
Yeah.
We know that our workforce is being affected by those significant global challenges. And so the president's view is we can't just stick our head in the sand. If we do that, we're just going to lock in the status quo. If we actually want to try and go out and fight for the opportunity for middle-class workers in this country, we got to engage the world. And that's exactly what the president wants to do. Level the playing field so American workers and American businesses can compete in some of the most economically dynamic regions of the world. If we do, that's going to be good for the country. It's going to be good for our economy. It's going to be good for middle-class families.
Well, as I've said from the beginning, this is a great debate, including a debate on the progressive side. I don't think the case is closed, but I do think the more you can create jobs in this country for regular working people, the better position you'll be in politically. Thank you, Josh Earnest, for coming on.